Before we get started, one more thing. If you want to get any PE gear, be sure to check out TotalManShop.com. That is TotalManShop.com. And use the promo code MHS2020. Promo code is MHS2020 and get 12% off. Be sure to check out their wide variety of all kinds of good quality PE equipment. All right? And that's promo code MHS2020 for 12% off. And the website, once again, is TotalManShop.com. What is going on, my peoples? Welcome to another episode here at the Masculine Health Solutions Podcast. Don't worry, it's not the COVID, nor am I sick. It's just a little bit of a sore, well, not a sore throat, just a little bit of dryness. It is what it is. It comes with the territory. It is now raining. But that being said, that is no reason for men not to work out, right? So in this episode, I'm going to go over basically about 10 exercises benefits for us men and the reason why we need to do it. And main reason why I kind of started talking about this subject is I had a client who was basically asking me, he's like, man, outside of aesthetics and, good health, what else does it really promote? So I said, you know what, let's get into that here. And let's just talk about it. And first and foremost, obviously, let's get the elephant out of the room. Well, it's not really an elephant, but for most of us, we all work out or train mainly for aesthetics. We want to look good. And the truth of the matter is, whether people like it or not, looking good is a part of being mentally healthy. I think anyways, because if you look bad, they can say whatever they want. And they got these new things in the media about the new feminized boy, the whole soy boy movement and these weak men. And they're trying to basically put that upon us as though it's some type of normal thing. And, men are not supposed to be masculine anymore. To which I say, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, man. When in the world have you ever seen an epic warrior who's a soy boy, feminized, odd looking dude? It just doesn't exist. It's just something that doesn't really go. It just, I get it. It's this new age narrative that they're trying to place upon us. However, I do not think that it is good. And I think in order to be a good, healthy man, you can't really participate in that crowd and really live your life to the fullest as a dude, right? If you want to be a strong, masculine dude, you got to adhere to certain laws of nature, which unfortunately, you can't really bypass them. It's the law of reaping and sowing. You have to put in the effort. You have to do something. You will not get something for nothing. However, if you work out, you train hard, well, you will reap the benefits, right? So let's start off with better sleep and more energy. So a common reason that a lot of people don't exercise is lack of energy, right? And the odd thing here is that even though it sounds kind of counterintuitive, one of the best things you can do is work out, right? If you work out or if you work a hard job, it forces you to go to sleep because your body is basically saying, man, I am exhausted. It is time for me to go to sleep, and you will sleep better. As a result, that cycle will repeat itself, right? And it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing, right? And if you follow, if you develop you follow that circadian rhythm, you will be able to live your life to the fullest. It's just the natural laws of how we were designed, guys, or how we evolved. I'm not going to tell you what to believe in, but I will say that when it comes to our physical bodies, they are set a certain way. It's something that we can't really just skip over. It's like, work night shift, take this pill, you'll be golden. And I get it. A lot of people are vitamin D deficient. And obviously supplementing that will help. However, the greatest thing that you can do for your body is sleep more. Sleep is where the recovery happens. Sleep is just, it's one of those things that, we can't go 3 days without sleep without going crazy. You can go a whole lot of time without food, but without sleep, good luck. You'll probably go nuts. And I think after 72 hours, you are declared clinically insane. So it's one of those things. Sleep is intrinsically tied to circadian rhythms, right? So that's the cycles of hormones, which our bodies, you know, basically drive many of our physical processes. If you exercise regularly, it'll improve your sleep quality, which will even, I mean, it's been proven to actually improve play or things like chronic insomnia. It's something that we just can't get away from, guys. So exercise will promote good sleep. So if you struggle, if you're not sleeping well enough, like a lot of us are, and hey, you know what? I don't judge anybody because hey, there's been many years where I've struggled with sleep myself, and I just found that the best time to go to sleep for myself is, I mean, 11:30, 12. Do I do it every night? No. I still work late and sometimes I go past that. And it sucks, man. It sucks because I know that it's detrimental for my body long term. However, I told myself I basically have like a 2-year frame of me doing this. And then at that point, you know what? It's time to move on. But for now, it's kind of the boat I'm in and I get it. And that's kind of the reason why I brought up the vitamin D supplements, because I know, because of this, I'm lacking. Even in the summer, I know I'm lacking a little bit. So the best thing you can do is obviously supplement with a vitamin D3. Um, plus K2, it just helps to absorb it better. That's what I do myself. And like I said before, guys, it is not a remedy. The best thing you can do is sleep. Follow the sun. The circadian rhythms, it's something we can't really escape. So again, I'm not saying that I'm perfect, but it's one of those things that I myself and many other people can work around. And it's one of the exercise benefits, you know, that you get from putting in the hard work in a training session. It'll just help you sleep better. So when you do reach that slumber phase, baby, you are good to go. You're knocked out. Those hormones are in your body, helping recovery, and you're golden. All right. Next up, pain management. So any pre-existing injury or basically generalized pain is usually another important factor preventing a lot of men from being active, right? And even though it's important that you take care of yourself, chronic back pain is one of those things that I hear about all the time, and a lot of people that go into therapy, myself included, I suffer from lower back pain. Was it from overtraining? Um, it could have been a combination of that along with the fact that I was working full time. However, if you train yourself properly, right, you can actually get rid of the back pain. So one of the things that I did is obviously, I worked on my lower back mobility, right? So I did certain exercises for that. Superman's, do the Roman chair and that. I strengthened my abs, worked on my core, did some planking, and all that stuff forced my lower back to work. And what I found is that it was a combination of it being weak and then forcing it to really go hard when I would do compound exercises. Like squats were just destroying me. Squats hurt more than deadlifts. And the reason for that is that I wasn't strengthening my lower back the way I should have, right? So when you work out and you actually concentrate on a certain area of the body, you will find that it'll make it stronger, thus taking the pain away. It sounds counterintuitive as well because you're like, hey, you know what? This area kind of hurts. Maybe I should just focus on stretching it more. Sometimes when you do that, you're going to make it worse because it may already be loose and you may need to tighten it just a little bit, right? And you do that through exercise, or it's an atrophied muscle that you've never really focused on before and it's causing you all kinds of pain and discomfort, right? But that's where talking to a professional also comes in, and that's why I always recommend talk to a personal trainer, talk to a physiotherapist, you know, get more than one person's opinion if you're able to do that as well. When you do that, it'll broaden your basically the way that you look at it. So, now that your vantage points change, you'll be able to say, hey, you know what, maybe it's because I don't really use it a whole lot, and then boom, I force it to work. And that's not the greatest thing that I could do for my body. I got to strengthen it, but I also got to make sure that I give it time to repair and rehab it properly, right? So again, research shows that targeting, stretching, and strengthening exercise may help to prevent the reoccurrence of specific injuries altogether, which is true. You can get rid of chronic back pain. You can get rid of, I don't know, like people that suffer from shin splints, your tibialis anterior, gastroc, that whole lower leg is just not firing up the way it should, or you have imbalances that are caused from, certain muscles not working the way that they should. You see that all the time with people that are compensating, and I'm not talking about compensating in other ways, but I'm just saying, if you're let's take one thing for example. Let's say you're doing like front raises, right? It's supposed to be a shoulder exercise, but let's say you're pushing these heavy weights and you've trained yourself to always use heavier weights than you should, and you're using more of that backswing. You're using more of your biceps to stabilize it, and your shoulders really aren't working the way that it should. You may be doing yourself a disservice in the long run. Well, you are doing yourself a disservice, but that chronic pain will probably start to show up in the years to come. And I talked to a lot of guys that have lifted with me in the past, and I'm talking to dudes who got bulged discs and all kinds of injuries that I don't want to see any of you guys go through. Which is why when I screen clients, I always go through like, okay, you know what, this guy's hamstrings aren't firing up the way that it should. I'm seeing that in the squat. His knees are caving in. Okay, we got to work on some stability. We got other issues that we got to tend to before buddy wants to load up 3 plates. I'm like, hey, you know what, let's not worry about that. Let's focus on proper form. I'm not here to be a form cop, because I know there's a lot of people like, hey man, his form sucks and it's awful and this, that, and the other. You know what, I'm not about that life. If somebody's form is going to lead to injury, it is something that needs to be addressed. However, if somebody, is doing their thing in the gym, I'm not going to walk up to somebody and just say, hey, you know what, you're doing it wrong. However, if it's to the point where I'm like, dude, this guy's swinging around, like, I think the worst thing that I've ever seen, I'll do a short story here for you guys, is that I saw a dude load up. He was in the squat rack. First of all, that is a cardinal sin. You do not curl in the squat rack, right? Should have kicked him in the head just for that. But no, all jokes aside, he's in the squat rack. He decides to curl and he throws on 45s. Man, this guy is about that life, man. He's about that action. And he goes in there, he starts curling and he's like, yeah, yeah. And I see this guy, man, and his back is swinging all over the place. He looks like one of those birds they put at the ponds where it just kind of swings back and forth. And I'm like, dear Lord, this man is going to snap his back. His back is going to just be destroyed after this, right? Sure enough, 2 weeks later, I heard that this guy, apparently something happened in his back, and it turned out he might have had like a not a protruding disc. I think it was like an impinged disc. I don't know exactly what happened to this dude, but I'm just like, hey, you know what? I should have said something. But at the same time, when I see somebody ego lifting, yeah, it's like, what am I gonna do? Tell everybody how to lift, especially somebody with a big ego. So what I'm telling you guys is just be mindful, use proper form. And I get it, we all ego lift just a little bit. I've done it myself sometimes. However, it's always important to just have that solid base, that solid foundation that will keep you safe from injury and not lead you to it. So, what does working out do for the immune system? Well, the preventative benefits of exercise is more, extends to different parts of the body system, right? So just 20 minutes a day has actually been proven and has been found to have significant impacts on the strength and the activity of the immune system, right? So increased immune system, guys, right now, we're living in a crazy time. We're living in a crazy time where they're telling us, hey, man, take these drugs. And they do that for, when it comes to big pharma, it's like I said before, you don't got to be a theorist when it comes to this. You know what their plan is. Here, take these pills, you'll feel all better. But nobody's talking about the fact that, hey, you know what? Maybe you should go and run around outside. Maybe you should run for an hour a day. I mean, just 20 minutes a day can strengthen your immune system, guys. Man, so think about what weight training and just getting your 10,000 steps can do for you. It's not rocket science. The human body was meant to move. We were meant to do more than just sit around and just get fat, lazy, and watch sports on TV. We got to get involved. We got to do stuff, guys. Like it's mind-boggling to me that we're living in the time of this quote unquote pandemic, and they're not telling us to be healthier. They're telling us to just, get more drugs and get your McDonald's in. It's all good. That stuff is loaded with all kinds of carcinogens. Man, do not go near it. Right? Like it's mind blowing to me. But when it comes to having a healthy immune system, guys, make sure you take, the proper vitamins, the proper minerals, the stuff that's actually going to help you out. Don't worry about just loading up with drugs that they tell you to take. That stuff is, man, It's lackluster at best. What you want to do is make sure that you are taking care of your immune system. And the best way to do that, well, be active, go outside, lick some dirt. And strengthening the immune system is about more than just taking stuff that they tell you, guys. Don't believe the hype. Just wash your hands, sleep good, exercise, proper hydration. I mean, it's one of those things. It's the whole subject is something they should tell us more about in the news, right? But they really don't. And that's kind of why I don't watch the news. I think it's full of crap anyways. And I think Big Pharma's trying to, sell us a whole bunch of stuff, which is not the best thing for you. So with that in mind, guys, work out. It's good for your immune system. Also, next up, probably one of my favorite benefits: exercise for sexual health. Oh, yeah. So, obviously, if you become more active, you will get a more fulfilling sex life. Sound good? I think it sounds pretty awesome. Regular activity builds endurance and strength, making all other physical pursuits that much easier, right? So a lot of dudes who actually suffer from sexual dysfunction, they show that exercising for about 180 minutes a week improved satisfaction and their sex lives and their erections, right? Suffer from weak erections. One of the best things you can do is work out. Blood flow, guys. Like I've always talked about before, it's all about blood flow, right? So if you want to make sure that you can, obviously, hit that for as long as possible, you won't be able to if you have bad endurance, right? I don't know about you, but my lady needs, good endurance to reach the climax that she so desires. And obviously, she cannot do that if, it's like, sorry, honey, I don't have the physical capacity to go more than 5 minutes because I am physically exhausted. Right. So it's one of those things that you got to pay attention to if you are, getting out of shape, out of weight, or overweight, those things, like I said before, they can be deterrents to a good, healthy sex life. So you want to make sure that regular exercise is part of, just your daily life, man. 5 times a week, I say, is money. I myself, I like to go hard. I like to at least go for, man, at least 5 to 6 times a week, and try to really get my body moving, right? Obviously, I do it for aesthetics, but, the older I get, the more I realize how it's, a crucial part of just being healthy, man. You want to be healthy, have a better metabolism, these things, I'm sorry, but we can't escape them. It's one of those things that we cannot escape. It's got to be a part of our daily lives. And the more you have it and the more you are involved in working out, the better it is for you. And also, might I add, regular exercise has also been shown to decrease the risk of sexual dysfunction before it even begins. So you want to protect yourself, protect your cock, make sure that it's hard and good to go. You got to make sure you work out, guys. Next up, we got the power of building up your brain. So again, as mentioned before, exercise obviously influences all parts of the body, all different parts of the body, right? All different systems. And when it comes to the brain is no different, man. So, exercise will actually help to preserve the function of another organ as they age, and that is none other than the brain, man. Regular to moderate, and obviously vigorous exercise has also been found to reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease by as much as 40%. So whether it's, and that includes as well, dementia. And I mean, for me, that's the older I get, the more I kind of, like, yeah, obviously I love getting it in. I don't know who doesn't. And obviously, we want to make sure that, that's why we do PE. You want to maximize your tools for said activity. However, the older I get, the more I realize how important it is to stay healthy all around. And one of those things, is obviously fighting off, these different mental diseases that exist, right? So, it's something that's important. It's something that we got to be aware of. And obviously, cognitive function tends to decline over one's lifespan. So regular physical activity has actually been found to preserve its ability to perform, mental tasks, and that's obviously just remembering things like numbers, locations, all these different things that we may take for granted today, but we shouldn't in the future because, they do start to, I don't want to say fade because that's giving power to these diseases. However, our diets, the amount of physical activity we do we read versus just watching TV all day? All these things play into the improvement of our mental health. And, now that mental health, we see it more often than not. It's something that's being talked about more and more in the media, and it's on the rise. And we're seeing it on the rise with kids, we're seeing it with adults, we're seeing it all over the place, man. And I think a lot of it has to do with the toxic environments that we live in. However, we got to do our part as well. In order to fight off all these different diseases, we got to do our part. And a lot of that just involves moving around, eating good, staying hydrated with good, clean water. Don't get me started on the water. Let's just say it's not the greatest thing around us. All right. So just be mindful of that. Something to just keep in mind, right? Mental health, definitely a real thing, guys. Next up, movement for mood. Like we were just talking about before, depression is on the rise, right? However, even if depression has already been diagnosed, introducing physical activity has actually been proven to be, to really improve one's mood, right? And that's due to the mood balancing effects of exercise, right? So endorphins and other brain chemicals actually get released during physical activity. So if you're feeling down in the dumps, even though you don't feel like it, and I've known a lot of people, that told me they struggle with depression, right? People that are close to me. And one of the things that their physicians actually told them to do was, hey, go walk around, just go walk around in nature, just get your body moving, and obviously, these are good physicians because a lot of other physicians just say, hey, here's some good stuff that'll make you feel better, right? And then people just kind of get hooked on that. And again, I'm not saying obviously there's a place for that. However, I do feel that it would benefit these people and everybody who may be suffering from these mental ailments to just get involved in some physical exercise, right? So physical activity will provide you with many different opportunities to express yourself, right? So a lot of people get rid of stress. And the reason why I say that is that, some people run, some people lift weights, and all these different things that you may do will help to decrease cortisol levels, promote a calmer mood, have a lower healthy heart rate, like the kind of heart rate we see in trained athletes, and just get rid of a lot of that psychological strain you may be suffering from. And, for a lot of people, they may not understand that. And a lot of people talk to me like, hey, man, what keeps you motivated to go to the gym? And for me, I had anger management issues as a kid. I discovered working out at a very young age. And I found that for me, and for many young men, and for many men out there listening, you know what? If you need to go to the gym to just blow off some steam, do it. Do it, man. Don't hold on to that stress. Let it out. If you want to go do some kickboxing, you want to go lift some heavy weights, you want to just go run, go sprint, go do something, but don't internalize that bad energy. You got to make sure you let it go. And you got to make sure that you're able to just get those endorphins, serotonin, all that good stuff, all those good brain chemicals that make you feel like $1 million when you're done. Make sure that you're in a place when you're done working out where you feel that, man. I mean, a lot of people might knock on walking, but hey, man, I am a big fan of walking, and I am a big promoter of walking just because I feel fantastic after I'm done, man. And it's something that I could do for an hour. Humans were designed to walk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. We were not designed to do bicep curls for hours and hours and hours. Right? So obviously, that time difference, and for me, it almost puts me in a meditative state if I go outside. And it's something that was actually recommended by Japanese scientists for people suffering from depression. They told them, go walk in the woods. You oxygenate yourself, you detoxify, and you kind of just, you feel better. You feel relaxed. And if you haven't done it before, definitely do it. Definitely, definitely, definitely something that you can just, get doing right now. You don't got to be the most fit person on earth. Just get those 10,000 steps in, and believe you me, you will feel better. So next up, let's talk about quantity of life. For all you guys who don't want to die anytime soon, which is most of us, I would think, want to live long, robust lives. Um, exercise will benefit you in that sense as well, right? So it obviously will help you to look good, help with depression, management of life stressors, all those things. Exercise also has a significant and positive effect on overall health related quality of our lives, right? I mean, people that work out have been shown to have better mental health, less pain, a higher level of social functioning than people who don't exercise. And I mean, that's not really a shocker. The more you move, the more, it's just easier for us to function as humans in this world, in this realm, or whatever it is that you believe that we may be living in. Right? The benefits don't stop there, though. In addition to improving life quality, exercise will also contribute to a longer life. Meaning, if you exercise, you'll probably live more. It's not rocket science, but it's something that we neglect. Sedentary lifestyles, eating bad food. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many people I see eating McDonald's every day. If you're eating McDonald's or fast food, do yourself a favor, put that down and go for a walk around the block or something. But, when it was actually found that when they compared mildly active men to those who were highly active, it actually they found that men that were a lot more active were able to cut the risk of death by 22%. So just by increasing moderate to intense physical activity, so what that can mean for most guys is, just adding an extra hour a week, it will actually decrease your risk of death from all causes by 4%. So if you need something to motivate you, just think about, hey, you know what? If I'm able to work out and I'm able to really go hard in the paint, really go at it, do some HIT, legit hit, or some Tabata, or just interval trainings, something that will get your heart rate, elevated, get you going. And obviously, I do know that every single situation, I mean, it's all subjective. Every single situation and the way that everybody trains should be specific to who they are. I'm not saying if you got high blood pressure, go out there and, run like a marathon runner. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you got to do something that's specific to your needs, something that's tailor made. The best way to go about it, talk to a personal trainer. At the very least, talk to somebody who's knowledgeable on the subject. Best way, I mean, they say don't read a book by its cover, but when it comes to physical fitness and physical health, unless it's like a 280-pound freak who's pure muscle and it's probably synthetic. You should know somebody in your crowd who's really into working out, working into fitness, just who knows about being physically active, right? Talk to these people. Usually people who are really involved in physical fitness and just living overall healthy lifestyles, they're generally good people who want to help. So I would suggest you go that route, but if you can't, talk to a professional, talk to a personal trainer, talk to a registered dietitian, just talk to somebody that's going to help you, really get your P's and Q's lined up so you can live longer. So keep that in mind. Exercise will help you live longer. And I don't know about you, but I want to live a long, wonderful, robust life. Next up, exercise your heart. I mean, we all know this is probably one of the biggest things. And I mean, it's also something that if you look into it, heart disease is still the number one killer of men, if I'm not mistaken, which I'm not. It's still the number one killer of men. It's prevalent, man, and it's huge in our society, and it's something we're neglecting. Everybody's talking about a virus. Well, that virus isn't half as deadly, not even a quarter, not even 0.0005% as bad as heart disease. So, when it comes to worrying about certain things that may or may not happen, you're best off focusing more on your heart. The heart is essential for you to be alive. Without a heart, guess what? You're dead. So it's not something that you want to neglect, guys, at all. And the benefits of aerobic exercise to cardiovascular health have been well documented. Sedentary lifestyle, like we talked about before, has always been known to be a risk factor for heart attack and or stroke. Neither one of those things are good. And we all know people who have had heart attacks, who have had strokes. Some of them come out of it, some of them don't. Some of them come back and he may not be able to move half of his body. I know certain people like that. And it's sad, young dudes who just were not living, a lifestyle that was conducive to their health. And it's something that obviously, it can be avoided. It can be avoided if we do our part, and One of those things is taking care of your heart. So, how do you go about doing that? Well, a recent study put this into perspective by demonstrating that owning both a car and a television increases the risk of heart attack by 27%. On the other side of things, incorporating a moderate to physical activity in your life will significantly decrease the risk of heart attack and or stroke by up to 63%. 63%, guys. That's more than half. So I don't know about you. I mean, and I'm lucky in that where I work, I move around a lot. I'm always running around and I'm blessed. I get my 10,000 steps in without even trying. Some days it'll be double that if it's a long day. So I don't necessarily have to worry about that. But for a lot of people that work in cubicles, or if you work in a place where you're not moving around that much, it's a very, very sedentary work or job. It's gonna be it's gonna be a battle, right? But you just gotta make at least an hour to go walk around, guys. Just an hour, 10,000 steps, whatever it takes. But that exercise will definitely help to bring down your chances of a heart attack, right? So many risk factors contribute to cardiovascular risk: high blood pressure and elevated low density lipoprotein cholesterol, right? So that's quote unquote the bad cholesterol, are commonly cited culprits, whereas pharmaceutical therapies such as beta blockers, statins, will address and target will address one of these targets at a time. Exercise can modify several factors simultaneously. So here's the thing. I believe in prevention, and I think that the more preventative action you can take, the healthier your life will be. The problem with taking any one of these drugs is that you will now become dependent on it. And a lot of people don't want to change their lifestyles. The irony is that if people change their lifestyles, they won't have to take these medicines for the rest of their lives. There's a reason why these pharmaceutical companies want you to be on their drugs. They want you to take their medication. They're not looking for you to heal yourself up. They are not looking for you to cure yourself, which is key. They are looking for you to stay sick enough that you will need their products for the rest of your life. Again, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is merely good business for them at our expense, which is why I think it's important for us to just understand that we do have a lot of power in our hands. But ultimately, it comes down to what we do. They're not, yeah, I don't want to, yeah, I don't know, I'm treading on thin ice here, but I believe that the government and the pharmaceutical companies, all these different, entities or conglomerates, they don't have the best interest for us, right? They're looking to tax you, get some money out of you and keep you alive long enough until you're dead. But in the meantime, they want to make sure they can take as much out of you. And unfortunately, for a lot of these big pharmaceutical companies, they don't really have to pay the repercussions. They don't have to deal with the consequences of the damage that they have caused. So you want to be safe, you want to do your part, just take control of your life, control the lifestyle factors that you can. All right. So that being said, take care of the heart and exercise just a little bit more. Next up, curbing cancer. Well, we all know somebody that probably has died or is suffering from cancer, right? When I think cancer of all types is actually the leading cause of death among Canadian men, right? Cancer does not discriminate. It affects men of all ages and ethnicities. Nonetheless, some of the risk factors within your control may significantly decrease you getting cancer. And of course, as we've been talking about this whole time, exercise is one of these factors. So different population studies consistently have shown that exercise protects against many types of cancer. Leisure activities decreases colon cancer in men by as much as 20%. Prostate cancer can drop by as much as 10%. While kidney cancers, the exact data is not here, but it shows that it is around 5%, maybe more. And that just comes from physical activity. Granted, obviously, physical activity is not going to guarantee that you will not get cancer. We all know lots of people who have been healthy who have also gotten cancer. And like I've talked about before on the show and even on the episode on xenoestrogens, you can be the fittest guy on earth, but if you're consuming BPAs nonstop all day, every day, guess what? You are creating a toxic environment for your body, which is not good, right? Toxicity can lead to cancers. Our environment can lead to it. So it's just important for us to do our part once again. However, being able to work out, being able to exercise can definitely curb cancer or the chance of it breaking out in your system, right? And in men who have cancer, exercise is actually an important part of recovery strategy. Doctors are starting to see that this is crucial for keeping cancer in remission, right? Why is that? Moving the body around. Who would have thunk? you know, I think it's something that it is a common sense. A lot of this stuff, guys, it is all common sense. You move the body around, the circulatory system gets going, the lymph nodes kind of get drained. You're able to stretch out, you're able to detoxify the way the body naturally does. You do not need some big booty girl telling you about her new herbal tea that will detoxify you and make you beautiful. Right? You don't need to take all that stuff necessarily. What you do need to do is get moving. Getting moving is excellent. And physical activity is the key for many of us to live healthy, robust lives once again. In men who have cancer, right, exercise, as mentioned before, was part of the recovery strategy. Brisk walking may contribute to delayed progression in clinically localized prostate cancer, along with regular activity, was found to decrease the chance of dying from colon cancer. During prostate cancer treatment, they found that exercise may actually reduce fatigue and other associated side effects. So again, enough said with that one, but it's something that we need to be aware of, and it's something that we just have to be minor P's and Q's. Just get moving. Just get moving. Next up, last but not least, we got diabetes protection. So again, aside from cardiovascular disease and cancer, regular workouts are actually able to protect against other chronic diseases. One of those is type 2 diabetes, or late onset diabetes, occurs when the body becomes insensitive to insulin, right? So what happens is it prevents glucose from entering into the cells, right? So it just doesn't know how to deal with it. And it's like, oh, insulin's, I don't know what to do with this. Right? So what happens is when left untreated, this results in high levels of sugar in the blood, right? So this can lead to a whole bunch of different things, leading to severe complications such as blindness, limb loss, and kidney failure. I personally know somebody who lost a limb from this. And the thing that boggled my mind is that this person decided not to do anything about it, right? So instead of saying, hey, you know what, maybe I should stop eating this stuff, it's got lots of sugar, it's deep fried, and not taking care of my body, and maybe I'll go work out. They did the opposite, clammed up and just decided, hey, you know what, whatever, I just want to keep living my life the way it is. And, that person was gone in a matter of months. So the way we approach things and the attitude that we have, along with, wanting to live, wanting to really live, a full, healthy life, it is, I do believe that exercise helps, but I think that exercise really helps us mentally to just prepare for the battle of life. If you have a full, rich, oxygenated brain, man, you will probably be a little bit more positive. Sometimes things can get bleak, especially for somebody who may have lost a limb, somebody suffering from kidney failure or other things, other factors or basically detrimental things that come from disease. It would suck to suffer from any one of these diseases. So I'm not saying this to scare people into working out, but I'm just saying it's a very, very healthy, beneficial thing to do, right? So again, the goal of diabetic therapy is a reduction in blood sugar levels. It has actually been found that exercise can significantly reduce hemoglobin, right? And that's a standard measure of blood glucose control. This improvement may be caused by a renewed sensitivity of the blood cells to insulin. So it's almost like, imagine you're resetting your cells to kind of say, oh, there's insulin around. Excellent. I know what to do with this now. And it will actually it'll start up that process once again. However, you do got to get moving. You got to get moving. And physical activity also markedly decreases the risk of developing diabetes. So you want to take a preventative measure? Exercise is excellent for that as well. So it was found that it actually reduced the chance of developing diabetes by as much as 65%. 65, guys. So that's an extremely high number, and it's one that works in your favor. That's a number you want on your side. And it's interesting to note that protective effect of exercise is not reliant upon weight loss, right? Risk reduction is independent of body weight. So again, like I said before, aesthetics isn't everything. I myself, I do it for a combination of aesthetics. I do want to look good. However, I do find that the benefits of just working out, independent of how my body looks, is beneficial. It is beneficial. You will, I mean, we just gone over 10 exercise benefits, and I think they're pretty mind-boggling that more people don't work out of fear. Or the fact that they may be sick. A lot of people still want to just hang out, eat Burger King, and watch the game. And it's kind of sad to see because we have a lot of the power in our hands. And that power merely involves training. Man, train for an hour, train for 45 minutes. If you do zero training, train for 20 minutes. Do a round of push-ups, sit-ups, and jumping jacks, and some air squats or something, but just get your body moving, do some yoga. It's not very difficult to do, guys. I mean, like I said, if you want to just go for a walk, go for a walk, but you got to get your body moving. And again, for all you guys that are interested in being able to pound for as long as possible, perform sexually to your greatest ability, you know, it's a massive factor there too. You can't really look to increase your member if if other parts of the body are not firing up properly, right? Like I said before, in my personal experience, when I was 285 pounds, obviously I was big and I was like, yeah, I can power lift and I can not, I had zero cardio. Let's just say erection levels were not that great. They were lackluster at best. They were more like floppies. And at that time, I don't think I was really doing a whole bunch of the male enhancement just because, I was like, I don't really care about penis enlargement right now. And again, like I said before, it was lackluster. So in order to avoid that, lost weight, did cardio, and physically, I just felt, my body just functioned a whole lot better. You recover from colds faster. And in a time where we're worried about said virus, it's important for us to just, strengthen your immune system as much as possible. And I'm not necessarily talking about supplements, I'm talking about what we can do, right? So what we can do without supplements, without anything extrinsic, right? So what you can do is do a little bit of meditation, good for the mind. Do some walking, do some running, do some jogging, do something, right? But it's very important for us to get the body moving. All right. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed these 10 benefits of how exercise can help us and how it can prevent us from these nasty diseases. So on that note, stay safe, stay moving, and stay healthy. All right, guys.